Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go, NIHILEGO. NIHILEGO is the first of the Ultra Beasts to be released into Pokemon Go. It is a Rock and Poison type Pokemon with the moveset of Acid, Rock Slide, and Sludge Bomb. Now, if you've never used a Pokemon with Acid before in PvP, you definitely wouldn't be alone, as Acid is a pretty bad fast move. Regardless, I still wanted to try it out, so I did some practice Master League battles versus members of my Discord. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out NIHILEGO in action. Terrible lead in the first match, NIHILEGO into Shadow Mewtwo. I save switch into Groudon, which is going to be met with Glaceon. We do have the type disadvantage in this matchup, but here's where Groudon's stat product can be incredibly helpful. I am going to let this go. I've already gotten shield advantage. They go for the Icy Wind, and it's not enough to KO. Groudon able to reach a second Fire Punch, and now they have to either give me both shields or switch, and they decide to give me switch advantage. Back in comes Shadow Mewtwo, but I'm now in a much better spot because I can align it against the Garchomp. Hoping that this is just going to be a Psy Strike, I let it through, and it is. I am going to farm up and go straight for the Sand Tomb. They don't have to shield this, but it would be doing a solid amount of damage onto the Shadow Mewtwo, and they do commit the final shield. And in the back, they have Shadow Magnezone, and Shadow Magnezone really does not want to see this Garchomp. I'm going for the Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb, massive damage onto the Magnezone, and it ends up being a CMP tied to a Mirror Shot. And at this point, I should be in a very good spot. I can bring in NIHILEGO and commit to the Acid farm down. I should be able to tank any one move here. So I am not going to shield. Let's test the bulk. Honestly, tanks that Wild Charge fairly well. So NIHILEGO does have some okay bulk. Back in comes the Shadow Mewtwo, but I still have 2 shields. So I shield up the Psy Strike, and I end up reaching the Sludge Bomb. Rock Slide would have KO'd there, but I wasn't sure how much energy I had. Sludge Bomb takes him out, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading NIHILEGO into Zacian, a pretty decent lead. Opponent save switches into Dialga, and I'm going to respond with Dragon Tail Groudon. This is a pretty neutral matchup, but I'm hoping I'm going to be able to keep switch advantage. This could be enough for a Draco. I will respect it, and it is, so that ends up being a very nice shield. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit and go for the Fire Punch, hoping to try and grab a shield back from my opponent. Fire Punch goes unshielded. Groudon just able to farm down before they reach the Iron Head. That is absolutely huge. We leave with a ton of energy to threaten this Zacian when it comes back in, but my opponent realizes that, and they bring in Ho-Oh instead. Ho-Oh is going to resist everything Groudon has in its charge move pool, so unfortunately, I'm just not able to do a whole lot here. I do get farmed down, but I can bring in the Garchomp. Garchomp should be able to tank one move. They bank all the energy, and they bring back in Zacian, and now it is NIHILEGO time. NIHILEGO should be able to tank any one move here. They go for the close combat. We're able to handle that just fine. I'm going to farm up and go for the Rock Slide. Rock Slide slightly cheaper and should KO with the debuff, and we're able to get the shield. Zacian farming up, and they're going for a move. They shouldn't be able to get to an extra close combat after this, so I am going to commit the shield and then farm down. Ho-Oh has a ton of energy in back. They could have thrown, but they end up throwing an extra Incinerate, which allows me to reach a Rock Slide. Either way, this game is over. Even if I didn't get the shield, Garchomp should be able to Dragon Tail down here. Earthquake probably kills an entire, what is it, a flock? What do you call a group of jellyfish? Let me know down in the comments. Either way, Garchomp farms down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading NIHILEGO into Glaceon. Pretty neutral lead across the board, but considering I have 2 ground types in the back, I'm definitely happy to catch the ice type on the lead. I should be able to tank any one move here. Glaceon goes for the Avalanche. We tank it, and I'm going to fire back with the Rock Slide. This will do a solid chunk of damage onto the Glaceon, but Glaceon respects it with the shield. Unfortunately, Acid, not the fastest charging fast move ever, so we are going to get outpaced in this matchup. I will shield up the Icy Wind and then try and land the Rock Slide. We go for it, but a fantastic catch by my opponent, catching it onto Excadrill. That is really unfortunate, as that is a massive waste of energy for me. I'm going to respond with Dragon Tail Groudon. Dragon Tail Groudon, unfortunately, doesn't have nearly as clean of a matchup as the Mudshot variant does versus Exca. I will still be able to reach a Fire Punch, which is going to do a lot of damage onto this Excadrill, so they will commit the final shield. Farming up quite a bit, and unfortunately they are at another move. I decide to let it go. I'm going to try and trust in Garchomp. Unfortunately, the Drill Run just doesn't quite KO, and they get an extra fast move through as well. That is a little rough. And now I'm going to try and Dragon Tail down with Garchomp. Let's see if we can leave with some energy. I'm hoping that I will be able to Dragon Tail down here. Garchomp, just not able to Dragon Tail down. Exca lives on very low HP, and unfortunately, I am forced to burn that final shield. The question is, what is in the back? We know they have the very low health Glaceon. They bring it in, it's Shadow Magnezone, and they bring in the Glaceon. I don't want to get farmed down. I bring in NIHILEGO, but this sets up Magnezone for a farm down, and I do not have Earth Power. I do win CMP with the Sand Tomb. The question is this Mirror Shot range? Sand Tomb, big damage, moment of truth. Can Garchomp survive the Mirror Shot from Shadow Magnezone? We cannot, and we lose a heartbreaking game. Hopping into the next match, leading NIHILEGO into Waterfall Gyarados, and this is a pretty big core breaker for the team, as both NIHILEGO and Groudon are taking super effective damage from water moves. They go for the Aqua Tail, we tank it, and I'm going for the Rock Slide. I no-shielded, so I'm hoping they're gonna no-shield as well, but the Rock Slide is shielded, and then I'm gonna bring in Groudon. Groudon, at the very least, can hit for some solid damage with the Dragon Tails, but this is still a bad spot to be in. I shield up the Aqua Tail, and they have Mamoswine in the back as well. Things going from bad to worse as Mamoswine beats the entire team. I go for the Fire Punch, and they no-shield. That is absolutely massive, because I should be able to shield up and commit to the Dragon Tail farm down here. Mamoswine beats the entire team, but they choose not to shield it, and we're able to take it out. Back in comes Gyarados. I'm going straight for the Earthquake. It's double resisted, but does get same type attack bonus. Almost takes them out, and I'm able to snipe with Garchomp. And in the back, they have Shadow Snorlax. So long as they don't have Outrage, we should be in an okay spot here. I don't have any shields left. Shadow Snorlax going for a move. Only a Body Slam. I have enough for the Outrage, and I'm gonna bait. Hoping to try and grab a shield with a Sand Tomb, and we do. That is massive, lowering their defense, and now this second Sand Tomb is going to be doing more. Shadow Snorlax is pretty tanky, but now it is 2 stages debuff to its defense. They're going to be firing off this last second Body Slam. Body Slam, plus a few licks, able to take me out. I bring in the Groudon, Dragon Tail's getting it low, bring in NIHILEGO, we're able to Acid down, and that is a good game. Great lead in the next match, NIHILEGO into Togekiss. My opponent save switches into a Dragon Tail Garchomp, so I respond with my Dragon Tail Groudon. I will respect a potential Outrage, but it's only a Sand Tomb bait. I will be able to farm up to the back-to-back Fire Punches, and this should be enough to KO. I'm hoping they will commit a shield, but they realize I have 2, and they decide not to shield. So a very nice play there by my opponent. They can pretty safely bring in the Togekiss here, and because of that debuff, I'm not going to be able to reach a 3rd Fire Punch. So I'm going to fire off the one move that I'm able to get to. Doesn't do a whole lot onto the Togekiss. Back in comes NIHILEGO, but in the back is Metagross, and Metagross with a shield is incredibly deadly versus this team. I'm going to go for the Sand Tombs, try and debuff it as much as possible. They do end up shielding the first, but either way, they are in the driver's seat of this match, because down a shield, Dragon Tail Garchomp just straight up loses to Metagross. I'm going to fire off another Sand Tomb, but they can very easily commit the second shield and then overfarm quite a bit. They do commit the shield, and they're over-farming massively, and this is not good. I have almost no energy on NIHILEGO. At this point, game's just over. I bring in NIHILEGO, trying to get to a move, and they have farmed all the way up to the Earthquake. Earthquake banishes NIHILEGO, and that is a good game. Nightmare lead in the next match, NIHILEGO into Steelix. My Discord members bringing out the spice to hard counter NIHILEGO. I'm going to save switch into Groudon. Steelix staying in, farming up a ton of energy. I go for the Fire Punch bait, and they catch onto Zarude. They may think they've caught the Earthquake, but instead, they take super effective damage from Fire Punch. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit and fire off another Fire Punch. This will be getting that Zarude quite low, so Zarude will commit a shield. They're going to fire off a move just before I'm able to reach a 3rd, and honestly, I'm going to let this through. I need shield advantage Garchomp to have any chance of winning this game. I'm going to go for the Acid Farm down with NIHILEGO and shield nothing here. They are going to go for the Power Whip. I tank that, I farm down, and now it's all up to Garchomp. Let's see what you can do. Back in comes the Steelix. I don't have to shield anything here. Earthquake is not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. We tank that, and in the back is Shadow Mewtwo, so I am very happy that I saved my shields. They're going to be firing off Psystrike after Psystrike. I will commit the shield. I'm at the Outrage, but I'm going for the Sand Tomb bait. Really hoping I can try and get a shield here. Sand Tomb does get the shield from Mewtwo. That is fantastic. Unfortunately, my Dragon Tail does get denied there. I am going to commit the shield. They go for the Ice Beam, maybe thinking they were only getting to 1, and I'm able to farm down. Back in comes the Steelix. I do have a lot of energy, Am I going to be able to reach the double Sand Tomb? Sand Tomb number 1, can we get there? We can! Able to barely survive. And now, can NIHILEGO defeat the hard counter? In comes NIHILEGO, and we're able to reach the rock slide. NIHILEGO taking down the Steelix, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading NIHILEGO into Shadow Ho-Oh. This lead depends on the moveset of Ho-Oh. If they're running Earthquake, it's incredibly bad, but if they're running Sacred Fire, this is not a bad spot to be in. I go for the Rock Slide, and I'm able to get the shield. They farm up to 100. Moment of truth. I'm going to call it. I'm saying no Earthquake, and it's Sacred Fire. They don't have Earthquake. That's fantastic. They bank a Brave Bird, and they save switch into Zarude. I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb. Even though I'm debuffed, this should do some nice damage on a Zarude, and then I can bring in Garchomp. I'm hoping the Garchomp is going to be able to Dragon Tail down before Zarude is able to reach a second move. Power Whip does a solid chunk of damage. Come on, Garchomp. We cannot farm down, and I'm going to have to commit a shield here. Thankfully, I do leave with a nice amount of energy, but I would have really loved to not have to commit the shield. And in the back is Tapu Bulu, and this is not good for the Garchomp whatsoever. I am going to go for the Sand Tomb, and then I'm going to go for the Outrage. Outrage is double resisted, but after debuffing them, I'm hoping this will do a nice amount of damage. Outrage does a nice chunk, and it ends up being CMP. Garchomp has done its job, so I'm going to let it go. They undercharge the Grass Knot, aggressive switch NIHILEGO, and that one acid did an absolutely massive amount of damage. My goodness. But now, honestly, I'm in a bit of a tough spot here because this Shadow Ho-Oh has an incredible amount of energy. They go for the Sacred Fire. That does massive damage onto the Groudon. At this point, I think my win con is farmed down, but it ends up being a simultaneous KO. Tapu Bulu is going to be able to take down the Garchomp, and that is a good game. Final thoughts on NIHILEGO. It's a great raid attacker. I believe it is now the top poison type raid attacker in the game. So if you're really into raiding, this could be a Pokemon to invest in. But at the moment for PvP, I would not invest in it whatsoever. Acid is a terrible fast move in PvP. And until it gets a better fast move, this is a Pokemon that you can very safely go without. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.